We're going to ask you first to explain your immunization challenge. So pick one problem with giving vaccines in your area. And this should be a problem you can help fix. Tell us why this problem is important. Say who it affects, like mothers, children, other health workers. Tell us about your job and where you work. Explain how your job connects with this problem. Ensure the situation can be understood by others who do not know your area. So we're going to, I believe, lower all the hands. Let me see if, right, I believe, yeah. So, all right, and we're going to call on those of you who, on the, actually, I believe in Zoom rooms, now there is no way to lower all the hands, is there, Charlotte?
No, Reda.
All right, so we're going to have to ask you if you'd like to be the first person to focus on this. We have a few of you whose root cause analyses Charlotte has identified. Jenny has identified. So we're going to I'm going to turn to Charlotte to help pick our first the first person with whom we're going to demonstrate how you explain your immunization challenge and then how you analyze its root causes. Charlotte, who would you like to start with?
I accidentally went back to Esther so because the hands are raised. So Idris Saleh, I don't know if you're able to unmute. Okay, I see Esther. You
Esther may be ready, yes.
Already. Yeah, so definitely we'll turn towards you, Esther.
Okay.
Esther, please, yes. So you have the instructions on the screen. Let's start with your immunization challenge.
Well, based on the experience I heard, and I'm still going through it, one of the difficult in immunization is belief, custom and tradition, which so many people are hanging on to it, in the sense that any new vaccine that it's been introduced, it will have to carry a lot of work to convince the people to adapt to it. Why? Because some people believe, oh, you give us this vaccine, it makes our children not to give birth in the future. If they are the men's side, they will say, the men will not be able to give pregnant women. And so this is a serious issue that we have to do a lot in order to make the people understand. And at times what I do in order to make them feel this vaccine is for the good of their health, I start with my own family. If it is a new one, I will start with my own family to ensure that all my family have gotten the vaccine. And when they see we're doing okay, they will come. Okay, madam, can you explain more to us? We want to know the importance of this vaccine to our health and to our children. So I think one of the major challenge is belief. When you believe in something, it needs to carry a lot of convincing words to make the person know that what you are giving out to him, it's for the good and betterment of the society. And some of the problem, tell us why this problem is important.
Thank you, Esther.
Yes.
Esther, please do not mute your microphone again. Now going to turn to Jenny Sequeira, who probably has questions for you to better understand your immunization challenge. Welcome to you, Jenny. I know you are a friend and a fan of the country of Nigeria. Do introduce yourself and then let us know what would you like to know. We just heard Esther describe her immunization context, let's say. What exactly would you want to know to zero in on a specific immunization challenge? But first, do introduce yourself.
Great. Hello, everyone. And nice to see so many participants coming from Nigeria. I also met someone from Ghana. I saw someone from Kenya. So it's great to have everybody here. I'm Jenny Sequeira. I'm a consultant for Geneva Learning Foundation, working with Reda and Charlotte for the last 2.5 years. Before that, I was based in Nigeria working for the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So great to see everyone. And I'm really loving Esther's challenge because I think you mentioned something that is something that I saw a lot of people mentioning, which is belief systems or what customs or traditions are. But what I would like Esther to talk a little bit more about is what exactly are those challenges? What is the main belief when you talk about HPV introduction? Is it something particular, or is it more generic? If you can just tell us exactly what is that belief issue that you want to then do a root cause analysis on. Because when we do root cause analysis, we want to go deeper and deeper and deeper into that one challenge. And during that deeper investigation, we can see how it's related to other areas. But let's try and start with getting more specific on your root challenge. Esther, back to you.
So,
Okay, you know, when I talk about belief, it's like, okay, when you bring a new vaccine, trying to say this vaccine is to cure a certain particular disease, they could say, yes, we accept it at the beginning, because if you're okay, there are people there, let us not be out of the game. When the women or the children get back home, the family issue is entirely different. They will say, no, we don't need to take this vaccine. Why? Because now you are a child. When you take the vaccine, probably when you grow up, you will not give birth, and it will deprive you from giving birth. And so they decide to put another thinking into the child or the mother's way of thinking towards vaccination. And in that case, you have to do a lot of convincing work, a lot of teaching, a lot of educating people on how important vaccination is to children and also to people that are targeted within that age. Mostly, their belief is when you take the vaccine, you won't be able to give birth in the near future, which is a
Great,
fear
Esther.
to them.
Yeah, so I think we're very specific here that it's not just any belief system, it's the belief that the vaccine will make the girls infertile. So
Yeah.
so that's the starting point. So now we have that root, and as we go into the why, we can really get deeper and deeper into that belief and end up with some of the interventions that can address the root cause behind that. So thank you, Esther. Really great to hear that challenge. Over.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jenny. And now, Esther, please stay on the line. We're going to work with you through the 5 whys. So the challenge is this belief about HPV vaccination. And so what is your answer when you ask, why does this happen? Why do people have this belief? What is your answer?
Well, you know, most people, when there is something new, they don't have knowledge about it. And they keep asking, why? Because if I don't have adequate knowledge on a particular thing, it creates doubt in me. So all I need to do is to find a way to make them to do away with the doubts.
All right, so hold on, because then, so you've answered most people when there's something new, they lack knowledge. So
yeah,
we go look at this first answer to why number 1, and for why number 2, we ask, why do they lack knowledge? What is your answer to why number 1?
Well, why they lack knowledge is, you know, when you grow up in a community that people don't look deep into the things that are developing newly, they will find it difficult to accept it. And as you bring anything new to the community, as a health worker, it's your responsibility to educate the people. So at times I feel they are not being given adequate education concerning the vaccine that is being introduced. So I think the more we educate the people on anything new, especially on vaccine, I think the better the response will be.
Okay, so you've just answered why number 2. Why do people lack knowledge? And you say the community does not know about new things, and it's because they don't have enough education. And that is a logical one thing to check for, is in going from one answer to the other. Is it logical that if you lack knowledge, you probably haven't had the education in relation to that knowledge? So why not? We have 2 whys so far. Jenny, any comments or thoughts on how to go deeper before we go to why number 3?
Yes, I would ask a question around what are the ways that people get their information, because we're looking at some things that relate to misinformation. If they believe the beginning question was they believe that the vaccine might cause infertility, then they're obviously getting information from other places. So besides lack of knowledge of the correct information, part of that, where can they get information or how can they get information, is where are they now getting their information. So when you're thinking about that, not given information, what is the reason behind that aspect of not getting correct information?
All right, and I'd like now to invite both the guides and participants in the room to also share right now in the chat. Then we'll go to the guides who wish to come in on this specific situation and its root cause analysis. But you can use the chat, and already Sani Hassan has said the challenge for this immunization vaccine to collaborate with the head of a community to create awareness for better benefits for healthy in child. Now that is skipping ahead to the possible solutions. But before you try coming up with solutions, you want to make sure that you've identified the correct root causes. And we want to make sure that we are not sharing screen. Thank you, Boma. We did not deactivate this before, but we will now. So please do come in. No worries, no worries. So do come in the chat for now. We're now going to go to why number 3. And Jenny's question raises, don't just think about the question. This is about the situation that where you work every day. You know things that no one else can know because no one else is there every day in the way that you are. Your colleagues maybe, and if they are in the collaborative, then that's great. Now, why number 3, Esther? Are you still with us?
I'm still with you.
All right. So you said a community doesn't have enough education. So logically, the next one is, why does the community lack education?
Good. Most of the times when a new product is out, you need to create an IEC material, that's educative materials, that you can place it in the community using the language that is common to those people in that community. Because when you don't use the language that is common and you are trying to pass a message to them, it's like you're not talking. It's like no message is being communicated. So I think why at times the knowledge is lacked is because the materials that we carry to introduce the new product doesn't reach out to them very well. So some of the things we have to do is translating the information in the common language that the common man will understand. And by so doing, the education that they require in understanding the vaccine you are trying to introduce will be understood by them. But if you use the contrary, which will always use English, and is in few places, you will find them using the second language, the common language, which is Hausa. But I think if you go deep into the community where you really want people to benefit, they neither know English nor Hausa. So you need to look for somebody that knows the dialect of that people and try to teach them so that they can understand better the importance of the vaccine that you are trying to introduce to them.
So thank you, Esther. So then that takes us to the next question. You know what this next question is, right? Because it's about your previous answer where you said usually there is information, communication, education materials in the community's language, and it sounds like there wasn't this time. Why did that happen?
Well, everything you do is based on budget. As a health worker or an NGO, whatever you do, it's based on what you have at your custody to deliver such activity. And probably we didn't go deep to look into it by asking ourselves where we are trying to target, what language is common, and how can we educate them. These are some of the things we need to look into when we are bringing something new. It's not just because it's going to the whole nation, then we use the common language. In Nigeria, we have 3 common languages, which is Hausa, Yoruba, and Igbo. And this carry the majority people. But if you go further deep into the rural remote area, you might get other languages, which it will be good if we can get some translation in other languages, because they are part of the society also. And
Okay.
this will help in educating them and getting more better
So
immunized.
Esther, again, you are already thinking about solutions, but are you sure that you have the right root cause? Now, you said that I heard that maybe it was due to lack of funding or lack of resources. So I'd like to turn to Jenny and to ask now, if you look in the root cause analysis, we have a very specific instruction. Whatever you analyze, whatever you come up with for ideas for actions, assume that there is no more funding than what you already have. That you have to figure out what you want to do with existing resources. So I think there is a very important point from Anduka Ozor, who says sometimes probing further, looking for the root cause, may lead to a cause you may not be able to solve. So I'd like to turn to Jenny with that question. It sounds like with why number 4, or the answer to why number 4, Esther has hit upon the bedrock of funding and resources. What would you recommend? What would be your advice? What can she do if she finds herself with a cause that she has no control over? I don't know, Esther, if you do, but typically
yes,
we don't.
I do.
So Jenny, what would you say there? What would be your advice there?
Yeah, so as you look at routes, there's many different routes, and we've gone down a route that we're not able to address within our own resources. So I would say go back up a few levels to one of the why questions that you might be able to go down another route channel that will lead to something that you can possibly respond to with your own resources at your own level. So when you look at lack of knowledge, or the root problem is that people believe that the vaccine causes infertility. And so maybe asking the questions of who are people listening to? And going down that channel of people are getting their information, they're just getting wrong information. But who do they trust? Who do they believe in? And can you follow that channel of why, going to the root causes of how do I address this misconception, following the thread of who they listen to? I don't know if that's helpful, to go back up and then to start asking yourself why, with in mind this idea that I want to think about how can I address this challenge using the people that they listen to, or trying to build on the people that they trust and go to for sources of new information. So maybe we can start that again. Reda, I don't know how much time we have, but
we are out of time, unfortunately. But Becky Tagbo has a great suggestion. For every why, there's several possible answers. So she says, pick the solvable answers. So if you see funding is one of the causes, but you cannot do anything about that, then think about so pick another answer. I think that is also what Jenny is saying. All right. So you can see how we've gotten only to the 4th why. I do want to turn to the guides, and I'm going to ask Charlotte, and I see several hands raised. And again, for participants, please, you've been sharing absolutely fantastic suggestions, ideas, thoughts. Maybe some of you who have been involved in the HPV vaccine launch in Nigeria have found practical solutions when working with communities to cross the language barrier, to cross this barrier of lack of education. So please do, I see several hands raised, but we are now going to go into the first breakout group. I just want to ask Charlotte if she could invite one of the guides to come in and share their thoughts after hearing this particular root cause analysis. And thank you so much, Esther and Jenny, for really leading by example, by showing how it's done in this on this particular case.
Yes, Reda, I have invited Scholastica Njagi. Scholastica, please go ahead and unmute yourself. Social and behavior change consultant from UNICEF Nigeria. And please do introduce yourself.
Thank you very much, Charlotte. My name is Scholastica Njagi. I work as an SBC specialist in UNICEF Nigeria office based in Abuja. I'm very happy to be here, and learn a lot from our colleagues online. I like how my good friend has taken us through that root cause analysis. And I was looking at when we talked about IC materials, the why, I think the why number 3, IC materials. When you're looking at it, let's also look at, is it the most effective way of communicating? Are we really reaching our target audience, who in this scenario are the caregivers? The reason I'm bringing this up is sometimes as programmers, as health communicators, we don't have the characteristics, the needs of our target audience in mind when you're developing some of these activities. I'll take an example. The literacy level in Nigeria is about 77% in 2021 or thereabout. We are looking at a community, we're looking at people who are quite knowledgeable. Is the issue the language? Is the issue the packaging? Is the issue that the messaging is not enough, or the messaging is, there's a way you can also provide, you can over provide information. Is the message too much that is confusing our audience, or is the message too little? And this being a new product, we are not providing as much information as needed by the caregiver to make the decision. Second, is it our ideal channel of communication? Is that what really our audience want? Is that what they prefer? Do they have access to IC materials? Or are we just making IC materials because that is what we always do whenever we are introducing a new thing? I would like for us to also look at both from the point of view of the service user and also the point of view of the service provider. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, we are going to kick off with the breakout groups. We'll come back to the guides. They are listening to you. We'll be asking them for feedback once we come back from the groups, and we'll be hearing group presentations. As you can see, we're hoping that you don't have a second where you're not thinking about your challenge, about the challenges of others. So here is how the groups are going to work.